What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to another episode of Yarns with Marns. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about rest, a little bit about nurturing yourself and taking some time to refill your cup. And I'll get into it as we go on. But the other week, my mum and I were moving house, and we moved house last week. But the weekend before that, or 2 weeks before that, we took some things to the storage unit. And I was going through a box on our way to the storage unit, and I hadn't seen this box in a while. And I opened it up, and there was a book in there, and it was like one of those baby books that you get as a kid, and your midwife or your parents, they fill it out weekly to see how you've been sleeping as a baby, and stuff like that. Has all your weight in there when you were born and everything. So I was reading through this book, and I was turning the pages, reading about how I was as a kid or how I was as a baby. And there was one little question on there that said, describe how your baby is, or describe what your baby's like. And there was two words on the page that really stuck out to me, and I asked my mum about them, and the words said action man. And I said to my mum, why does it say action man? Like, what does action man mean? And she said, that's because you're always on the go, you're always in action, you're always busy, you always got things to do. And she compared me to my nephew now, who's 2 years old, Kobe. And he's always busy. He's always got to do stuff. He's always, on the go. He's not one of those babies that's sitting down, chilling out. And she said that was the same with me. And I was always action man. I was always on the go. I was always in action. And it made me think about it a lot. And I feel like a lot of that is still me now. I still feel exactly the same. And so when my mum said action man, meaning you're always on the go, always had to be doing something, it resonated a lot, because it made me think that's exactly how I feel right now. And I've always felt a little bit guilty about resting in a way. Like, I've always felt like I've always got to be doing something. And I've always felt like I should feel guilty if I wasn't doing anything, or if I am sitting around chilling out, maybe watching a movie or something, I should feel guilty. And I think in a way that's society that has shaped me to think like that. But also, as you can see, it's happened since birth. So it's something that is just in my DNA or in my nature. And I've carried it on into adulthood. But also, where I believe that comes from is being a professional athlete and being an athlete in general. There's always that mindset, because I definitely have this mindset, and it's always thinking about what others are doing. And what I mean by this is, for example, if I was to have a weekend off in the season, say, or in the preseason, say if I was to have a weekend off from training, and I was to lie in bed all weekend, constantly playing on my mind, just as an athlete and as a competitor, because I consider myself quite competitive. I'd always be thinking about what everyone else is doing. Like, while I'm chilling out, while I'm resting, there's someone else out there that's working out and fighting to take my spot, or fighting to take the spot that I'm after as well. So I've always kind of had that little guilt in the back of my mind, where if I am resting or if I am chilling out, I feel extra guilty. And I guess it's stemmed from when I was a kid. Being action man, and always felt like I had to be doing something at the time, and always felt like I had to be busy, and always felt like I had to be in action, and that rest was something that you had to earn or deserve, And also, I think as we look up to people like, for example, my idol, one of my favorite basketball players, my favorite athlete actually ever is Kobe Bryant. He's my favorite athlete, and he's a tenacious worker. He works extremely hard. He's always on the go, and he's always got that mindset of if you're not doing anything, then I'm doing more than you, and stuff like that. And I've always tried to have that mindset too, and always feel like, say if I'll work out with the bros twice in a day, I'll try to do an extra one by myself, so I can just know I got that mental edge. And I read a book last year, towards the end of last year, David Goggins, his autobiography, and he talks a lot about that. Talks about taking souls, and while everyone else is sleeping or resting, you're out there doing the work. And so it's made me really think in the last few months about how important rest is, or just how important it is to actually take some time off and just to chill out, and how important it is not just for our bodies, but just for our overall well-being. And this weekend just gone, it was a long weekend here in New Zealand. Aotearoa, we had Waitangi Day was on Sunday, so we had the Monday off as well. So we had a long weekend, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And the reason I'm talking about this is because over the weekend just gone, I probably spent the majority of the weekend lying in bed, chilling out, watching Netflix, relaxing, eating, which I guess some people would say is not ideal. It's not, that doesn't seem very productive, but if you look at the week I had leading up to the weekend, I had a pretty busy week. It was pretty full on in terms of creating content and recording things, and my own part-time job at the same time, as well as training as well. So it was pretty full on. And I think that as we get older, we start to learn the importance of rest, and how important those 3 days of me lying in bed watching Netflix, chilling out, has set me up for this week, because I'm feeling recharged. I'm feeling like I'm well rested now. This should probably carry me over for a little bit until I feel like I need a rest. And that's also the important part. Was I had some things planned for the weekend. I was planning on going on a big long bushwalk by myself, and then going up north for a little bit on one of the days. And so when I didn't achieve this, I didn't actually feel too guilty, because I listened to my body and I listened to my spirit and my mind about what was needed. And I knew that rest was critical and crucial in this part of my life right now, in order for me to be at my best moving forward. And yeah, as I said, the weekend was probably the least guilty I've ever felt about sleeping in, and about lying around and not waking up early, and not committing fully to my morning routine. I'd still do some things like listen to podcasts and do what I'd like to do, but I was just allowing myself to relax, and it was still productive in a way, because I feel like I still achieved things throughout the weekend. But I'm also happy because I'm feeling really recharged, and yeah. And as I said, I think it's important. I believe it's important for us to have these days and not beat ourselves up about them. There's such things as having rest days and chill out days, but I think when you have those days without guilt is really where it matters. And that's probably the most important part, is not feeling guilty for resting or taking the time needed that we deserve. Filling our own cup. And what I mean by this is, I've always believed that we can't fill from an empty cup. For me to be at my best, and for me to provide quality service to others, just service in general, and friendships and relationships, and just everyday interactions, for me to be at my best, my cup needs to be full, and I need to be at my best and at my peak. Or just be like an athlete, they need to be well conditioned, or like a machine needs to be well oiled for it to function. And I believe that's the same for us as humans as well. We need to fill our cup first before we can, fill other people's cups as well. So I believe that taking this time to rest and do nothing, and find peace in the nothingness is crucial and essential for growth and our overall well-being. And if I could share a message with you and hope that you could take something away from this, it'll be that to understand that taking time to rest and to recharge is not something that you should feel guilty for, because I always believe, as I said, that we can't fill from an empty cup. So in order for me to be at my best and to provide service for others, I have to fill my cup first. And they say if you take care of your body will take care of you. And it's the same with your mind, your spirit, your emotional intelligence as well. If we take the rest that's needed, it'll repay us, and it'll repay us tenfold, and all the blessings will come back to us as well. Everything will unfold in divine timing. And if you feel like you need a rest, and you feel like you need to chill out for a bit and get the rest that you need and deserve, then I'd say to take that time. And which leads me to the tea I'm drinking today. So if I usually sit down here with some tea, but today I'm actually drinking some coffee, and it's actually a mocha. And I chose this one because I feel like it's relative, or resonates with this episode. So I'm drinking this coffee from Before You Speak Coffee. They don't sponsor the podcast, but they sponsor me in general. So I wanted to show them some love. If you're watching the video here, I'm drinking this little decaf coffee from Before You Speak Coffee. It's called it's decaf, which means it doesn't have caffeine in it, and it's a mocha. And the reason I'm drinking this today instead of tea is because it resonates with this episode. And so this adrenal decaf coffee is good for relaxation, rest, and to reset. And that's exactly pretty much what this episode was about today. It's about, taking that time. Don't feel guilty for relaxing and resting, and see it as a time to reset and move forward. And so make sure you check out Before You Speak as well. I'll put their links down in the bio below. But they don't sponsor the podcast, but I thought it would be relevant to mention that. So yeah, I really hope you can take something away from this episode and get some value out of it. And if you did enjoy it, please leave a review below. Follow the podcast, like all the things that you do on these platforms. And thank you so much for watching and listening. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace and love.